When did you realize your parenting choices can become someone else's nightmare? I married my husband, Drew, 5 years ago and found out pretty quickly that he had no idea how to do anything around the house. The first week of living together, he asked me how to use the washing machine, not which settings to use but literally how to turn it on. He didn't know you had to put soap in the dishwasher. He thought towels cleaned themselves because they only touch clean bodies. When I asked why he never learned any of this, he said his mom, Barb, told him chores were a waste of time and he should focus on school, then his career. I figured I'd just teach him, but every time I tried, Barb would call and tell me to stop overwhelming her baby. She'd say he worked so hard and deserved to relax at home, and that as his wife, making his home life easy was literally my job. Drew would just shrug and go play video games while I did 3 loads of laundry. Every holiday we visited Barb, she'd watch me run around her kitchen cooking and cleaning, saying, "You're doing great, sweetie," from the couch, where she sat with Drew watching football. If I asked him to help carry dishes, she'd jump in. Let him rest. He drove all the way here. It was 4 hours. Once a year. I started dreading every visit because I knew I'd spend the whole time being their maid, while they bonded over how hard Drew worked at his accounting job. Then Barb's landlord sold her building, and she needed somewhere to stay while finding a new place. Drew volunteered our guest room without asking me, just called from work saying his mom was moving in and I should get the room ready. Barb showed up with 6 suitcases and immediately started listing everything she needed. Breakfast ready by 8 every morning, coffee made a specific way, with exactly 2 sugars and cream heated separately, laundry done separately from ours because of her sensitive skin, dinner on the table by 6 every night. She handed me the list like she was checking into a hotel. I smiled and told her Drew would take care of everything, since he invited her. She laughed like I told a joke. I didn't laugh back. That night, I told Drew that since he volunteered our home without asking, he was responsible for hosting his mother. He got this panicked look and said he didn't know how to do any of that. I told him, "That sounds like a problem you should figure out." Then I packed a bag and went to stay with my sister. Within hours I got texts. "How do I make coffee? How do I use the oven? Where's the iron? Mom needs her blouse pressed." I read every message and responded to none. 2 days in, Barb called, demanding to know why I had abandoned my household duties. I told her Drew was perfectly capable, and that she had raised a smart man who could figure things out. She hung up on me. That weekend, my sister and I went wine tasting and had the best time I'd had in years. When I came home after 7 days, the house looked like a tornado had gone through it. Dishes were piled so high they spilled onto the counter. The laundry room smelled horrible. Drew had put wet clothes in a basket and forgotten them for 3 days. There was mold growing on a shirt I actually liked. The trash hadn't been taken out once, fruit flies had moved in, and the kitchen floor was sticky with something I didn't want to identify. And Barb's precious sensitive skin silk blouse? It had a giant scorch mark, because Drew didn't know you can't iron silk on high heat. Barb was furious, not at herself for raising a man who couldn't function, but at me for leaving. She said I had humiliated her son and made him look incompetent. I told her he was incompetent because she made him that way by never letting him lift a finger. Drew tried to say it wasn't that bad, but Barb was already turning on him about the blouse, demanding how he could be so useless. How did he not know how to iron? Drew snapped back. Nobody ever taught me anything. That shut them both up. Barb looked at me, then at Drew, then at the disaster around her. She didn't say another word that night. She moved out 2 weeks later into her new apartment and barely called anymore. Now Drew does his own laundry and cooks twice a week. He's not great at it, but he tries, and I'll take effort over nothing. Last month, he called his mom to ask how long to bake chicken because he wanted to make me dinner. She didn't know. Turns out, Barb's second husband had done all her cooking for 20 years. I laughed about that for a week straight.